all good intentions, but look at the drama that he has caused in terms of like you think you're trying to lift a woman up, but you tapping into a level of pain that is like, here we go again.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like we making women super women. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, yo, bro, hold on. Let's pull this back. With 2 sizes too big, man? Like, what are you even doing, even choosing a coat that's 2 sizes too big, bro? Like, this is weird. Like simplistic talk. How does someone get a coat 2 sizes too big? What does that mean about your own self? You recognize that this woman was 2 sizes too big. You know
And
what I'm
you
saying?
did
So
it anyway.
you said what?
You did it anyway.
Right.
Anyway, knowing
put
that you weren't
yourself
going
to
to
her
fit.
anyway.
Right.
Your burden, you put your burden on her regardless.
So at the end of the day, so you just devalued you as being a man, knowing that you fully recognized who she was and what she could bring to the table, and you didn't care. You went through and you gave her this burden now because she successfully defeated your game or successfully like revealed who she already was in the beginning. Now she deserves the praise, man. Like, that's crazy.
It's crazy. Yes. And the thing is, like, this is an ongoing theme. All he did was put a trash idea with a spiritual, throw some spiritual, like, water on it. And, like, now it's like all of us are, you know, not all of us, but it's like everyone's like, oh, my God, this is so deep and so amazing. But the same thing, if you look at, like, for example, Jay-Z and Beyonce and, like, Gucci Mane and, like, you know, his wife, or all this idea that, like, women are supposed to prove their loves by like toiling away and like, you know, putting up with like what Ogu said, crazy, like things that no human should deal with. And then at the end of the tunnel, there's this like this magical love story. Like, and you know, we finally made it. It's sad and it's toxic. And like, once again, I'm not telling anyone when to like, you need to walk. Like, for example, some people can deal with cheating and like you figure it out if your marriage can or your relationship can get past, and that's totally fine. But you don't have to, right? Like, I think sometimes is where we lose it. Like, you do not have to deal with this. You can say my emotional boundaries are here, and for self-care purposes, I need to walk away because I don't have to be this like God for you, essentially.
Right.
Go ahead. Oh, nah, go ahead. You know,
because you know, I feel like, I mean, let me go a little bit on a tangent. So when we talk about, you know, taking a stand for social justice, for example, you know, we do protests and people say, oh, we've been protesting and they've been killing us. Or, oh, you've been, you know, and then, oh, like, let's stop protesting. Let's stop doing what we're doing so that we don't get attacked by the other crowd. All right, cool. But I usually say, if somebody's like, if you offend me and I tell you that you're offending me, I don't need to have a conversation about that. You're offending me. Like, you know, you know you're offending me. So at the end of the day, people say, oh, turn the other cheek. I'm like, no, that's not what, I don't think that's what Christ meant.
I don't think so either.
Yeah, God wants you to protect your mind. If you're in a relationship or marriage that God cannot communicate with you in your mind because you're experiencing all this crap around you, that's not what God wants for you. Because you can't just be in a situation where you're like literally dying and you're saying for the sake of love. Like, no, like what kind of love is that? Like, what? That's the whole ride or die chick. Yeah. Why can't I just ride? Why I gotta die too?
I ain't the one.
Yeah, but the part of why we have these issues is because, and this goes back to what Reggie said as well. We don't define terms, or like for instance, we don't define love, and I wrote about it before. Like, so I don't know if either of you, Reg or Ogo has seen this before. But there's a definition that that's by a psychiatrist named M. Scott Peck. And he says, he's defining love, and he says, or he defines love as the will to extend oneself for the purpose of nurturing one's own or another's spiritual growth. Right? So the will to extend. So let me continue. He says also, love is as love does. Love is an act of will, namely both an intention and an action. will also implies choice. We do not have to love, we choose to love. Mm-hmm. And so, and I'm getting that from Bell Hooks' book, All About Love. And she talks about how...
Who's Bell Hooks? I'm sorry.
Bell Hooks, she's an author. More than an author, speaker, smart person. I don't know. But
like an inspirational person. Okay.
Yeah, I'll tell you more about her in a bit. But in this book, All About Love, she talks about how she had to learn that she wasn't loved by people who all her life she thought were giving her love. Like her parents, she was saying, I thought that they were loving me, but what I was mistaking for love was actually just care. Mm. And she's saying you can't actually, you're not actually loving somebody if you're not meeting this definition. The will to extend oneself for the purpose of nurturing another's spiritual growth. It can be your own, but for this, we're talking about another. So with that definition, the wife was meeting that definition.
Right.
Extending herself for the spiritual growth of him. But he's not meeting that definition because he's not extending himself for her. He's being the burden for her and stopping her from being able to love. And so when you're in a situation like that, the trauma that comes from that, you're there convincing yourself that that you're being loved by your significant other when all you're getting is really just care and like some affection.
And to dive deeper in that too, like, because she did come out after and say, I don't know if any of you guys saw it, but like basically, you know, kind of the flip side of this argument that in all relationships, like people go through things and like they help each other grow and things like that, which like, and I don't want to come off as I am saying that's not part of it. Like I get in relationships, like you will hurt each other, right? Like there was this, one of my favorite New York Times article on the basically like modern day dating. They have like a modern day dating or, you know, marriage series, whatever. And they said if we were more self-aware, we would start off our dates with like how, you know, what is your crazy and what trauma have you had in life? Because if we go take a step back, like at some point we will hurt and disappoint each other. That is a given, right? Everyone in your life does. And it's not necessarily from a malicious place, but because like, you know, we talk about doing unto others as you do unto yourself, but I had this conversation with someone earlier today. What I may like being done to myself is not what you may like being done to you. And like me treating you the way I like to be treated, you may get completely offended, like, whoa, what's going on? And I'm there thinking like everything is okay because if someone did it to me, I would have been fine, right? And like sometimes even by that standard, that's like my religion, I have to like check myself, you know, again. But my point is that I don't think anyone is saying to you, you don't have to like go through a relationship, and a relationship doesn't have its, you know, tribulations and trials, whatever. But I think that there is a limit. And if it seems to be very one-sided as at least what he portrayed it to be, then you have to ask yourself about the health of this relationship, you know, at all. Yeah.
I totally agree because it's not a matter of I'm lazy, like I don't want to put in the work in the relationship. It's a matter of I would not be a slave. Like you are not gonna turn me into a slave. We're both supposed to be equally yoked. So if you're 2 sizes bigger, I should be 2 sizes as well. So that we're both carrying each other's burden. But if you're 2 sizes bigger and I'm just one, you know, you only, maybe I'm a size 0 and you're a size 2 and I'm just a size 0 lifting size 2, you've turned me into a slave. Like when we're not equally yoked, you get most of the benefits and I'm out here slaving for you so that you can be happy. What are you doing to make me continue doing what I'm doing to help you? like progress.
And going to your point, look, like, think about how he puts this. Like, you got the lid and the coat comparison. I think this is going to be a lifetime quote.
Look,
Like, man, you got the lid.
Can we just say where some of these pastors be going with their metaphors and their
Nobody. You see, back in the day, right? Like, back in the day, there would be something called like the gill. I don't know if anybody's familiar with that. Like, you would just like smack somebody behind the head. Like,
yeah, of course.
Yeah. I think those things need to be enforced again. You know what I'm saying? Because some of the stuff is just, anyway, nonetheless.
The cameraman just come from behind like,
like, hold on. You know what I'm saying? Let me help you reorient. You know what I'm saying? But think about this, right? He said, he compared her, or he put her in a place of a lid and a coat, right? Two things that I looked at it on the flip side when I was thinking about it. I was like, hold on. Well, what gives, a lid has its purpose, a coat has its purpose, right? Fully functional, independent of the individual, right? But how he presented it was like, well, she's a lid because I'm a container. She's a coat because I'm a person, so I give her purpose. You think what I'm saying? Like,
he's the center of it all.
He's the center of it all.
The center. He has all the good stuff in it. She's just the thing on top that can be there or can be removed.
And then what he then further goes to say is like, well, if she's a lid, well, she'll prevent. And I'm like, she'll prevent? She doesn't secure? Like, okay. And if she's
a lid and a covering, right? That's what he was saying. Like, she's a covering over him, not a lid.
No, she
like,
said that.
He said both. He said both.
The was the covering.
Yeah. No, you're right. You're right. What you're saying? Yeah. I realize what you're saying. Yeah.
Wait. Say it again. Did I miss something? My fault.
We need to repeat it one
more.
more.
No, I think he called her a covering instead of like, he started off with that coat analogy and then he moved into like a lid versus like a covering. Yeah. And I'm like, what is the difference? Like, I was just like, where are we going with this? Like,
the thing is, like, you need a lid to secure what's ever in you. You dig what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, how he was saying it was like, well, it would prevent growth. Whereas the coat brings you to the end of the road. And I'm like, brother, if it's cold outside, I could wear a coat. But if it's summer, do I need the coat? Like, what are we talking about here?
I think it's important to make the distinction that, like, I mean, yeah, we talking about what he said because it's wild, but I don't think anybody's like trying to attack him. But I think it's important that we address the ideology, and if the ideology is problematic, then we can't just let it rock. We got to say something about it, or else it makes it okay for the next guy to feel comfortable putting his wife or girlfriend through all kinds of nonsense because he thinks that it's okay and society says it's okay.
And that, you raised a good point. I'm sorry with that. Like, because a lot of people will look at this and like, he is a good man, he's a pastor and this and that, and he had good intentions in his words. And I think it was like flirted with earlier, like, actions need to be judged not only by intentions, but impact, right? Like, one of my favorite quotes is, the road to hell is paved with good intentions, right? Like, you can't, because I think we give people a pass. Well, oh, they're good. I feel like there's a term for it. I think it's called moral licensing, right? Where like, oh, this person they've done good things. So like, we can disregard one thing that they do, or like, but we know that, come on, look at him. He's a good person. You know, he didn't mean anything by it. And it's like, that is not a reason to like let things slide. Like, if we continue doing that, then as a society, where would we be if that's how we judge each other? Actually, like, we have to call out people. We all, right, whether good or not, like, do problematic stuff, right? And like, it takes someone else calling us out, like, that's actually not cool, and here's why, for us to move forward. And I think that is where like a lot of these conversations get stuck. Well, this person is good, and like, obviously they didn't mean it like that, so why are you so offended? You're complaining about nothing. And I think that's just a horrible mentality to have.
Sorry, this is the same pastor. He said something in the past as well, that he said like, women should always carry themselves as wives, so that when the man is like trying to
him?
Yeah, he was one too.
I didn't know that was him.
That was him.
Finish it though.
Yeah, like we should always present ourselves as wives, so that when a brother is, because when a brother is searching, he's looking for a wife. He's not looking for just any random girl. And I'm like, all right, cool. But is the brother presenting himself as a husband too? Like, so I'm just gonna be out here acting as a wife to every Tom, Dick, and Harry that crosses my way. But yeah, the Tom, Dick, and Harry are not husband material. Like, no, you can't. I mean, I get your analogy, but also put accountability on the brothers. Like, the burden is so much on the woman that the man doesn't have to do anything.
Yeah.
And not only that, just assuming that all of us out here want to be wives. You know, that's a whole, right? That's a whole other conversation.
Yeah.
Like, yes, all of us just dream one day of having a white picket fence and, you know, being Betty Homemaker, and like, that insane. I didn't know that was him. Yes, he went on this whole diatribe about the spirit of a girlfriend. Like, how, I don't even know what that meant. Yeah, no, that's a whole other like 40-minute conversation.